I was celibate for a little over 3 years at one point in my life. Now, let me give you context. The context is you could take the top 5 men that you know that love women, and you could put all of those men together, and they still wouldn't love women as much as I love them. For context, even more context, I was in top shape, libido super high. For more context, I was a professional athlete also, or at least coming right out of that as a professional athlete. It wasn't that, and I'm saying this humbly, right? Anybody that knows me personally on a personal level that has spent a decent amount of time with me, they can attest to this. It wasn't that women didn't want to be involved with me on any kind of level. It wasn't that, because they were there. I'm humbly explaining to you just to break this down. They were there. They were attracted. They wanted different things. So it wasn't because of the lack of options, but I had reached a point in my life that I know that I needed to gain clarity on the next direction of my life. Now, when you take that energy that we exude on dealing with other people in that physical sense, when you take that energy, right, the horizontal exercise, as we call it, when you take that energy and you thinking about sinking deep all the time as a man, that's what drives you. That is going to be a distraction to you. And so you won't be able to see. Now, you could say use man or woman. That's going to be a distraction to you. You're not going to be able to focus on what you should be focused on, because much of your energy is going to be spent in the pursuit of that or being involved with that. And when you release even deeper, when you release that energy, now that's energy that's gone, that you could be harnessing, that you could be saving, and then you're doing it again, especially if you're somebody that you're doing 2-3 rounds, as the people say, right? You're going multiple rounds, and then you locked in on doing this every day or every other day. I'm not saying it's evil, so it's not even about that. The simple point is that I had to put myself on the shelf in order to gain clarity in my life. A little over 3 years. So, and you have to understand when I did that. When I did that, that's prime action, right? That's top shape. Things are going, I wouldn't say they were going well, which is probably why I did it in that first place. So for you, you may need to experience something like that to take yourself away from that and realize how much time and space you're going to be, how much things you were doing, how many things that you were doing related to that. And when you take that off the table and you realize, okay, I don't have to be calling this person, I'm not out meeting these people. Now that energy can move to something else, because it's a strong energy that moves the entire earth. So for me to have those urges, to take those urges and to stop, to just stop, a healthy man, in shape, etc., all these different things, that was a challenge. But I knew that if I could conquer, if I can engage in the celibacy, then I knew that I could do anything. Because those that can control the sexual urges, those urges, and those that can control the urges as it relates to food, those are the two strongest on the planet, those two. If you can control those, nobody will be able to control you. So controlling that amidst the advances, constant advances from women, and then women talking about, oh, is this guy, is he gay or something? I'm like, what? You tripping. But you had to go through all that. They're like, what? You don't want me? Why you don't want me? All these different things. But I'm telling you, it helped me to gain clarity and direction. So sometimes it's not about you being a bad person. It's just that you're misguided or your energy is being wrongly directed. And when you direct the energy to where it needs to go, you get to the proper destination. So it's the organization that you're missing. So sometimes you do need to take a step back and you do need to rest. And you have a lot of men online that, they're criticizing you when you're saying, bro, just chill, just retain the seed for a while. When you tell them that, because they're running on a different program. Most people are running on a different program, so it sounds foreign to them. And because there are more people that are operating on that vibration, on that frequency, it makes it appear as though they have the truth. But when you look deeply into a person's life and you see that beneath the surface, when you see all of these things, you see the over projection, you realize that they've been over projecting. You realize that they don't have the answers. You realize that they're not really doing well. You realize that these urges that they fulfill have been used as a cover-up, has been used as medicating, right? When you look beyond and you look under the hood, you see all these things. And so I made a decision to go through that stint, and I learned so much about myself. The one person that you have to learn the most in this lifetime is you have to learn yourself, because in learning yourself, in understanding yourself, the book of yourself, you will be able to understand others, because you have taken the time to understand yourself at the depths. So you will be able to recognize behaviors in other people and mindsets via the behaviors of the other people, other individuals. So during that time, I just had time to myself, and I had to understand and work through different things that when you are active in that way, when you're active in horizontal exercising, you don't think about those things. These are not things that you think about. So you're just operating on an outdated system. Many people are operating on an outdated system, the system that they were given when they were born and when they were raised. And you're still running off of that. And so you're covering trauma, right? You haven't done the shadow work, as they say. You're covering up the trauma and you're masking and you're dealing with things and you're using this as one of your coping mechanisms. Yes, it feels good. Yes, it's good. We all like the pleasure, all of those things. No judgment from me. I'm the guy that can't judge anybody. But if you want to move ahead, you've got to do something different. And that step, 3 years and not to 1 month. How many people, if you tell them 1 month, hey, go 1 month, go 2 months, go 3 months, they're going to look at you like you're crazy. Don't even talk about 3 years. For most people, that's an impossible feat. 6 months is an impossible feat. Why? Because they're so used to the programming. They're running on that operating system. So doing something different, behaving in a different way to the masses, it makes you look like the enemy, which is why you don't see many people speaking about this type of things, because they're wondering what's wrong with you, why you're not engaged in the behaviors that everybody else is engaged in. So they will act like that you don't like women. They will be like, what's wrong with, now they're calling you lame. But guess what? When you put all of those things to the side and you put in the work on yourself, the main thing is the result. We're looking for the results. And I got the results that I was looking for. And guess what? Those same people that were saying whatever they were saying, those same individuals are now coming back. Oh, you're so this and you're this, you're that. Now they got a lot to say. Now it's like, now they're coming and kissing the ring, as we say. You come in and you kiss in the ring because you respect the result of that. But at that time, when you didn't understand it, you criticized it. And that's what most people do. And they're going to do that to you. They're going to criticize it. But if you can get through the criticisms, you're going to grow tremendously as an individual, and your life is based upon you growing. So now the energy is more focused internally. I can experience anything, whatever is going on the outside is coming from whatever I'm experiencing on the inside. So now I'm experiencing growth. I'm having a newfound understanding and appreciation for myself. I've been able to, now I can take that. Now, if that's something I want to engage in, I can engage in it, but I'm engaging in it from a different aspect, knowing that I can sit out on the sideline for 6 months or a year or two if I want to. I'm not operating in that because I have to. Not because I have to. Now, there'll be those that are, that are of another world that say, man, I don't know how could you do that, man? I gotta have, this is what I gotta have. I gotta have this, I gotta have. I understand. But the way that my life was going, not that it was so bad, but I just wanted different results. I wanted different results. And so I'm willing to accept the criticism because all I care about is the result. And you have to be willing to accept the criticism. So your people around you who are the most important, who have a big part in shaping your life, you're probably going to receive that criticism from them the most, depending upon where you are at that point in life. But 3 years, think to yourself, 3 years. 3 is a lot. 2 is a lot. 1 year is a lot. But how much transformation did I receive from that? If you're watching this video, you are reaping the benefits of that transformation. If you are watching the videos on Instagram, you are reaping the benefits of that transformation. So it paid off for me. And the same as that, it will pay off for you. Because you're saying, man, let me preserve my seed. Let me protect my seed. Let me not waste my seed all the time. Let me use that seed to make me grow as an individual. Let me direct my energy to something else. And so then when you come out of that, you're looking at people from a different lens, because that energy that you exchange affects your DNA, number one, and affects your spirit, number two. We've already been down this list about STDs, spiritually transmitted demons. And then STDs, SEX, transmitted infections, or XIX, transmitted diseases. So it's STIs and STDs is the point. So you can be affected physically, and you can be affected spiritually. And then there's another individual that could come out of that, a child, a physical child that could come out of that. So it's not like you're missing something. Think about this. Just go to the deepest level, the simplest level. It's not like you're missing something that's going to make you be great. You can experience a moment in time of release. You can experience that. But guess what? If you come out of that, because I'm not here to tell anybody how to live. If you come out of that and then you start selecting a better individual, or however you live, individuals to do that type of thing with, now you're operating, now it really is sacred exchange of energy. Because now you understand that that person is going to affect you differently, because you are downloading into that woman and that woman is uploading into you. So we're exchanging information. So whoever I am, that's who she will become. And whoever she is, I will become, because of the exchange of information. So there will be a bond there. This is why people that have not taken a rest, you have these different spirits on you, and you have these different individuals on you, and you behave like people that you've been with, but you don't realize that you do. You speak like these individuals. That energy is on you. So now things are totally different. You're no longer yourself. So you need that time to step back and to cleanse yourself and purge all of that energy that you might not want. Some people, some energy you may want on you, some you may not. But I know that once you've taken that time off and you come back in, no pun intended, and then you come back in, now you're making a different decision. Now you're like more reserved. You're making a different decision on who to do that with, because you realize how significant that energy exchange is. And then as a man, you're like, okay, does she deserve my seed? Does she deserve my seed? Not that you're going to procreate, but just does she even deserve my release? Because now you've built yourself up into something, right? And as a woman, does he deserve to be, a part of me? Does he deserve to be inside me? Hey, those are things that you're going to have to decide. But I do know that when you come out of that, you think a little bit differently. You think quite differently. But in 3 years, if my energy is not spent on that, then that means that my energy is spent on building my life. Then the craziest part is how people would think that that's impossible. We would think that you have people that think that that's impossible, 3 years or 2 years or one. They can't imagine that. They can't imagine that. But they also can't imagine the life that they want to live, because they can't get it here. To have it in my hands, I had to first have it in my head first. That's the truth of it. So you know how hard 3 years, but you have to be focused. Everything is about what you want and then what you're willing to do. It's a sacrifice. We've spoken about sacrifice. A sacrifice is an exchange. I'm willing to do this right here. This is what I'm willing to do for the thing that I want. So 3 years on the shelf, 3 years on the bench, 3 years on the sidelines, that's a long time for a person that is in the prime, right? Prime, peak athletic performance, peak SEX performance, peak SMV, as they call it, SEX market value, peak all of those things. But I was on my knuckles financially. I was on my knuckles. I was like, hold up, man, this is something is not working. Something is not working, and I need to change that. Back to that inventory, taking inventory. So I said, you know what? What do I spend? What is energy spent on? They talk about this retention, this and that. Let me try this. Let's try this stuff. Not that I so-called retained for all of that time, but I did not engage in that exchange with women. I didn't exchange in it. I just chilled out. I did nothing. I was cool with some, from a distance, but when they start, wanting that, I was like, I can't do it. And then you can't explain that either, because they like, what you doing? What's wrong with you, man? What's up? Especially in Latin America, or even in North America, wherever, if they like you, it's like, what are you doing? Is it me? It's like, now you know how you say like, it's not you, it's me. When you start talking like that, they like, this guy he's just saying stuff. He's using cliches, but it really was just me. I was locked in. Some understood it, but some didn't understand it. So those 3 years, you're going to grow tremendously, or 6 months, if that's what you choose, or 3 months. Everything depends upon your frequency, how long you've been doing it. But when you take that off the shelf, with everybody you come across, now you have to deal with them based upon who they are, because that's not a part of the equation. So now you're dealing with people for who they are. And that's why When you come out of it, you start to make the selections. If you want to do that, you make the selections based upon your discernment. Your level of discernment is different because you realize that it's going to affect you differently. You realize it's going to affect you differently. Again, just because you hold off for 6 months or a year doesn't mean that you can't go on a rampage when you get out, because some people still do that. But the time that you were off, you will most definitely be focusing on something different. I was able to lock in on business. I became much better in business. I grew my business, which was the biggest thing. I grew my business. I opened business. I grew my business. I wrote books. These were things that I did. And then the business started to grow more and more and more from there. But it was the bout of celibacy that changed that for me, that transformed me. If you want to transform, this is one of the ways to help you to transform. It's not just about retaining. And for the men, it's not just about the retention. It's not just about that, because you can still be active, taking in an energy of another individual, but you're just retaining, you're not releasing. I've done that too, where you can still be active, but you don't release. That's another conversation. But sitting on the sideline, that was a real thing, but I did it. Read a lot, trained a lot. Yep. Took long walks on the beach. Meditate, stretching, studying. Did all those things. Poured it all into myself. All into myself. Because at the end of the day, remember, we're the product. You are the product in the business of life. You are the product in this business. And so how well your product does will be based upon product development as the individual. So it's all about product development. Those 3 years helped me to develop as a product. That's what it did. To make me be an individual that, number one, was more desired by consumers, right? More desired by consumers, but more functional as a product. And I'm saying that as we use the business example, more functional as a product that would do really well, that served its function in the marketplace. That's what I'll say. You always want to be an individual that gives and provides the value. More. You want to be giving more, always. You want to develop yourself more, always, as best as you can. And that's what that did. That's what that time off did, when I was just low on my knuckles. And another thing is, when you financially struggling, me personally, I don't even think about all that. I don't even think about that. I'm not even up for that challenge. I'm not even up. Seriously, I'm not even up for that. I'm like, I'm not even thinking about that. Because everything that you want to do costs. So that's a whole nother situation. Everything that you want to do costs. But three. You ask yourself, can you do 3? It's like doing a bid. Doing time incarcerated. 3 years. 3. No ladies, no women, no, we kicking it. Nah, none of that. None of that. Nope. 3. So it can be done. You can do it if you're thinking about it. It can be done, and it is extremely helpful for you. You will have an opportunity to reevaluate. You don't have to do the time that I did, but you will have to reevaluate your life. You're going to reevaluate your life, and you're most likely going to get better because you don't have the obstructions. You don't have people in the way. You don't have energies in the way that may not be good for you, and you trying to spend time and you're trying to do these different things and you're engaging in that exchange, and all that energy is doing is taking you further away from the individual that you should be. Because after an exchange, your life should get better. That's the meaning of good sex. Not just the physical act, but actually the outcome. The outcome being, my life got better from sharing energy with that individual. I feel better. My life got better. Their life got better. So we are who we say that we are because I'm feeling much better from that. And it was good. And we experienced the release. If that's what if you're doing that. Well, which many women, they always say that they don't really have that right now. They're not getting that a lot, that part, So you're engaging in, guys are engaging in things and they don't necessarily know how to bring that out of a woman. So there's a lot of different things. So during that time, even as an individual, you understand your body better. You build your body up. You build your mind up. You build your life up. And the result is that you become who you knew you were born to be. Because 3 years or 1 year or 2 years is a lot of time, but the time is going to go along anyway. So once you become conscious about it and you start to think about it, that's the time you want to start to do that. Because if you're conscious about it, you're thinking about it, and you keep going, that's usually when something irreversible tends to happen, something that you could have avoided. Like another individual, like a child, or like a condition that's difficult to get rid of, a physical condition, or like a spiritual condition, which is sometimes even worse. All of these things are real. So you never, as they say, the rest, and I tell people this with health, and I'm going to start doing more videos on nutrition. The rest is more important than the actual workout. The rest is more important than the actual workout, because during the rest, you're going to experience the muscle growth. During the rest, aka celibacy in this case, you're going to experience personal growth as an individual. It's the same thing. So you can grow through rest, and you have an opportunity to look deep within yourself and to get better at your weaknesses. Because you'll start to see, like, man, I was making those decisions. I couldn't see that. You'll start to see things clearly. You'll say, I couldn't see that. I was blinded. You'll say, I was blinded because I thought that they had good P or good D. You'll say, I was blinded. I was blinded because he was sinking deep. Well, I was blinded because she had that red snapper. I was blinded because she had that Dasani warm springs. I was blinded because he had that lumber. He was bone rock. I was blinded. He shifted my kidneys. I was blinded because she had that, et cetera, et cetera. Man, she got a wagon. Man. Whew. Yo, I got to talk that sweet nectar. So you start making decisions based off that stuff. I'm not angry with you. I understand. But to have the things that other people don't have, you have to do the other things that people don't do. It's as simple as that. It's a simple equation. So if you're thinking about it, practicing celibacy is a good answer. But don't do it just to say it. Do it and really dig in and think about those things that you can improve. Spend the time by yourself. People don't like to spend time alone because they don't like to think. They don't realize how they're being controlled, how they've been programmed. But this is when consciousness really comes alive, in the quiet time, in the time where you're not distracted, because that is a distraction. SEX is a distraction. It's a natural part of life, but the way that it's used in the West, in the headquarters of the Matrix, United States, it's a distraction. Or in Europe, or in the Caribbean, South America, it's a distraction. People do that, it's a distraction. But if you can overcome those distractions, then you'll be able to grow and then enjoy it on a higher level when you come out of your time away from the game.